Held the green card since 2014 after going through the process. I'm going to say this. It wasn't worth losing the savings that I had, which I worked really hard for in my life. Okay. It wasn't worth giving up my BMW for. It wasn't worth losing my expensive furniture, assets, and belongings to have a green card to America. I've got a green card to the US for 10 years that has to be renewed in December 2024. That's in 6 months' time. I'm not renewing it. So I'll ask immigration to, can you remove me? Is it possible to be completely removed from immigration? Is it possible to have my social security number completely destroyed so it can't ever be used again? So it's not inactive. So sorry, it's not active, it's inactive. Can my green card be removed completely? Can I be completely gone out of the system and never have anything to do with immigration again? Because I keep hitting a brick wall with this. Wrong information. It's one lie about me after the other, and I go to correct something and it's not going to change. So I would rather be the person that I'm going to be for the rest of my life now based on the last 9 years, which is going to be someone that's extremely anti-immigration. Anti-immigration when it comes to in or out of Australia. I'm born in Australia, and I don't expect to ever change from what I've just gone through. So let me explain, because what I had in my life didn't come easy. So the gold ornate mirror that I had to leave in America, for an example, every beautiful object that I had that I enjoyed very much was the proceeds of me working 7 days a week. So all this shit that's gone on in the last 9 years where people want to know stuff to do with me, okay, here it is. Born and raised in Sydney, my mother moved, like I've always said, in April 1989, which is why I went to high school in a different area. I've always worked, always studied, had after school activities, had sports, and so forth. Right through my teenage years. So even though mum moved from Sydney, this is what I keep saying to people, but we were always back home in Sydney. We didn't have sports on, we were back home in Sydney. Every holiday except for October was spent back in home in Sydney, and it was. Now, every holiday, except for Christmas, I used to go to work with my grandfather, Reg. I did. Reg back then used to work for John Smiles. He helped John Smiles in business. And John Smiles used to say this at every family function. He used to stand up and he used to say, if it wasn't for my grandfather, Reginald George Purdy, he wouldn't be in business. He was going bust with a business. He had some issues. He had to buy a partner out or something, or he was going bankrupt. John Smiles to do with PJ Boats, and then he brought it out and became Family Boats just off Sunny Holt Road in Blacktown. And Pop said, what do you need? And John told Reg what he needed. So Pop went home, came back with a brown paper bag full of money, gave it to John Smiles and said, now can we get back to work? That's what my grandfather was like. So from a kid, I used to go to work and I used to get paid in cash in hand. I've already explained this, so I don't have to explain all my jobs, do I? Why I had so much money in savings, because it came from hard work. As a kid, I worked hard. And look, I'll give my mum's side the due. I mean, I'm arguing with my aunties, including Robin Childs, but I'll say this. As much as whatever slander that we do back and forth and yell and scream at each other when we're angry, because that's how we operate on my mum's side, always have. Whatever that may have been even blown out of proportion with how we really get angry at each other, it's toxic. Yeah, it's toxic. Every family is different. But I'll say this, they all worked hard. Even Robin Childs. I can't fault her when it comes to work. But they've all got bad backs in a family, I swear to God. You know, like, we're not from, but, you know, we just never stop working. I mean, I know what my back's from. I got mugged after work. And the year before that, I had a car accident. So the mugging actually, I've had so much issues. In 2006 I had a car accident. Went straight back to work. There was nothing. I didn't have time off work for that. And November 30th, 2007, I got mugged after work. And then, so what was it? It was only a year. So basically, the slip disc from the car accident actually got exacerbated the next year after. And I was like, sorry for my language, but are you fucking kidding me? Like, my nan used to say this saying, God, Justin, you must have killed a seaman I'm gonna call it like a. I can't. Well, I don't know. Fuck. None used to say, "What'd you do? Kill a Chinaman?" Who cares? If people see that as racist now, I don't care. I'm really. I can't do this politically correctness. No one found this. Chinese people never found this offensive before in the past. When used to say, "Oh my God, did you kill a Chinaman?" Okay, I don't care anymore. I'm done with the last 9 years. So then you say, God, Justin, did you kill a Chinaman? Like that bad luck? How did you have bad luck like that? So anyway, it's always worked. In the 90s, I also did so. Besides me working for my grandfather and going and doing other things, besides me getting paid to break in, was it Carolyn McPhee's horse? Amanda and I got paid to break in one of her ponies as well. Like, and all this money was I just used to bank up and save. I moved out when I was young. I was involved in the theatre and the musical society. Tony Wormsley paid me to do maintenance. That's true. I think he paid his son to do electrician work because I knew his son briefly as well. He used to do electrician works or lights and paid me to do sets for the. I used to do acting classes as well. So I run acting classes. I did any old job, growing up. So and I've already explained this. So what do you think I did with the money? It just kept getting saved. So then, which is why I bought my first car and so forth in 1997. So it was just saving money. And in those days, it was a cash in hand. It just was. Look, whether people like it or not, a lot of jobs years ago was cash in hand, especially if you were a teenager. That's how things operated. And it wasn't just in Australia. That's how everything operated before the governments kept getting more and more controlling, more and more communist and controlled, and then wanted their share of everything. Overtime was cash in hand. It was just the way things were. So, yeah, that was, and, I did get paid $50 a day when I worked for John Smells, and I did that half day on a Saturday. I still got $50 a day. That's back. So even in 1995, I did it for work experience as well, but I still got paid for that because John's, used to me going for work with Reg. Yeah, so I did. That's how I learned how to do wiring up boat batteries and the CB radio, and which I know what I do now, and the boat lights and all these stuff. I used to take them home, whatever was old that was getting ripped out, I used to take it home and wire up my bedroom. So yeah, lamps and lights and so forth to batteries. So I did. I used to always do stuff with Pop with that. And so was that. Then in my late teenage years, I was the maintenance. I did the green room at the Retreat Theatre. Towards the end, there's a toilet towards the end upstairs. I'm the one that fixed that. It was running. It was basic. It's simple. Look, when you're young and you get showed how to do things and you remember it, when you've got your grandfather saying, there's a tile missing out of the bathroom. You've got a tile that I can't get in the bathroom, and I'm like, I've never tiled before in my freaking life, and he's there telling you what to do. The same when I linoed, so the toilet that was in the laundry, that lino, it was like a fake timber lino that went from the toilet right through to where the back door was that went out to the sunroom area. Pop and myself did that. Okay, I know it's just putting lino down, but Pop had a way of doing things and wanted to show me how to do this. And, I knew how to change washers, before I was a teenager. The tap's dripping, I'll show you how to change a washer. So that's how these are things which handyman do, and it's yeah, I know how to change a washer. I know how to change a faucet, which is why I kept picking up other odd jobs doing that. But my main job then, as I got older, okay, let's get to studying at Newcastle TAFE in 1996. Okay, again, another cash in hand job because I was doing stocking shelves at night when I finished school. That was at Big W. Then what else? I did so many different jobs until then the Powerhouse by Ridges in 1999. Then there was the Gazebo Hotel in Church Street, Parramatta, the year 2000. But I also did around the corner, what was it called? The Albion Hotel. There was a nightclub. So I used to finish working at the Martini Bar at the Gazebo Hotel, and I used to go and work at the nightclub around the corner. And that nightclub around the corner was cash in hand. That's in Parramatta. Meanwhile in the year 2000, I'm applying for a VIP host job at Star Casino. That's why, that's what I was doing anyway. So then working for Star Casino from March 2001, then I had other side jobs that I was doing. In my side jobs, so basically after I became a VIP host and so forth as well, and had a really good income of 47,000, started out around that, but when I, from 2006, 2007, it was $47,730 a year was my salary package. So it was always close to that, but each year it goes up a bit. When I was mugged after work, that's what it was as well. So these were my salary packages for Star Casino, but then I did side jobs as well. So I was working cash in hand, $25 an hour, doing labouring jobs on the side. So every single thing I have came from me working hard. Nothing came from anything. For an example, organisations believe that, you've got this because, you had a car accident. You must have got a huge payout from a car accident. It's like, no. It covered, X amount of medical bills. There was a massive big lump of where bone and fatty tissue had broken off in my back. You could feel this sort of lump, almost like what my dog has got on his nose, a fat sort of bulge coming out of my side, and it moved around. Like you could actually grab it. It was like, say this is the skin of my back, and there was this lump like this that just moved around like in the fluid like that in the back. It just moved around like a little round lump, and that was from when the disc slipped and the nerve endings and so forth. There was this ball of lump and it hurt. It used to move to the point where it would then touch on a nerve. It would it would send me shocks down my right side. So I had to pay to have that removed. It was elective surgery. So I paid to have this fatty round ball that was floating around, like scar tissue removed. So it would stop passing back and forth over the nerve in my hip to help with that problem. So I was like, well no, it paid for what needed to be paid, even though the casino and insurance company tried to slander me. It still went towards medical health. That was part of the injury. The same when I was mugged after work November 3rd of 2007. There's injuries for that. I've been, slandered and lied about with that as well. So all I got was part salary payment. So there's all this bullshit where solicitors, law firms, and right through government departments everywhere, I've just been slandered and lied about. So what should I do about it? It's gone on for 9 years. It cost me my ass. So it cost me everything I already worked hard for in my life. Why would I want to? I can't fix it. Can't do anything about it. America cost me everything because America immigration has those lies. Well, many lies. So why would I care? I've got to the point today after a conversation where I'm like, well, I don't care. Now, everyone wants more money off me, more money. It's like, I'm drained. I need you to help because this is the problem where I'm getting lied about. It's always, this, I'm this or I'm that. It's like, this isn't true. I had an investment property, which this was, like when I sold my investment property in 2008. So I'd just been mugged the year after I sold my investment property that I had right through my employment, and that was sold, and that's why I've got that savings. These are lies about me, and you don't want to correct it, then I don't want to be part of anything. You've taken from me everything that I've worked for and worked towards my entire life. You've just taken it. You've taken anything that ever actually meant anything to me. And the green card to America is not worth it. So I don't want to renew it. I think the conversation today that I had, and if no one can help where this is not costing me, because it has cost me already. America, you've taken my GoldenEye mirror, you've taken my French wingback cigar chairs, you've taken my Louis XIV style marble top commode that was from the 1880s, that was purchased from Rafa and Keller, a auction house near Booth Street in Leichhardt. You've taken everything. You've taken my you've taken Julia's, my nan's grandmother's day bed. You've taken my my theatre style Art Deco sofa that was expensive, was stunning sofa. Things may have been damaged in the ship on the way over, but it was just a bit, from being rolled around in a cargo. Things that I've had since my 20s that I loved and adored and cherished. You've taken my grandfather Reginald George Purdy's pigeon racing photo. You've taken artwork. The gold ornate mirror was, it was up there in the thousand. It was a massive, huge mirror. It was like this massive, big, full-length mirror. Two people had to lift it onto a hook. A very heavy, solid mirror, stunning. You've taken expensive lamps. You've taken everything from me. You've taken the Edwardian 1910 solid mahogany cabinet that was purchased at Lawson's, which used to be down the road in near roundabout in Glebe. That was purchased in 2006. You've taken assets, belongings, clothing, everything that I've ever worked for. So what was my savings? You've taken 80,000 American from me. You've taken what I worked for my entire life, have forsaken a social life, not having a social life, not having friends, just working from Star Casino. You've taken everything from me because you believed slanderous lies about me where I had been discriminated against for, health conditions and disabilities, which you did. Like I said to people, this is why I've said to my ex-partner, Jerry, stop telling people you're a carer, because what you're doing, yes, I understand what you're trying to say, but you are my partner. I don't need a carer. But what you were doing, and this is what my ex never understood, and he can't be told, is that you are you're tarnishing me. You're saying something and it's like, that's not true. So then everything to do with me looks tarnished. And that's why I keep telling people, when I was mugged on my way home from work, I never knew my ex-partner, which I did. I met him the year later. So what he does doesn't represent me. Whatever he's done, that's damaging, then he should be tarnished for that and stop using me as a lie and blaming me. Because I was studying, I was doing this and I was doing that. I wasn't sitting home all day doing nothing. And here's the thing. So you've taken everything. I mean, you took my looks, you took the way I have my life. You have taken everything from me for 9 years. So I won't ever in my entire life have a good word to say about anybody. The phone call today, as much as it just still validated everything that I've already known in the past, didn't resolve anything. It didn't fix anything. Didn't have a solicitor saying, okay, look, I'll do this pro bono. How much this has cost you over 9 years of damages? It doesn't seem that you can get any of this back and it's cost you everything. Well, let's just get your credibility back and correct this. Let's do this because it's the right thing. It's the humane thing. It's the human rights thing to do. Yeah, it's not. So, and the other thing, I did ask my family. Oh, God, I did. Several times in the last 9 years. So if anyone ever turns to me and says, but you won't ever speak to Amanda again, it's like, no, I won't ever speak to Amanda again. And I don't have to give you a reason why. All I'm going to say to you is 2015 to date. If you have to keep asking your family to do the right thing by you and they don't, then how can you say you would ever love that person? I can't. I honestly can't have any feelings towards my own twin sister. Because of the last 9 years, I don't know what to feel. Where I'm like, look, I'm sorry, but you don't do that to your own brother. So that's it. I will make sure that everybody in my past knows. And look, I don't even know why I would bother trying to catch up with anyone for a coffee. Look, I think I would rather just meet new people and put everything behind me and say, well, you can take your green card American, you can shut up your ass, which is really sad considering how I actually feel or felt and always wanted to move and so forth. I can't put up with being this badly discredited, defamed, defamation where it's cost me so much money in damages. I don't see anyone ever having to put up with that amount of money for immigration. No immigrant into Australia would. We wouldn't stand for it. Christ, if some immigrant in Australia was put through that, human rights would be straight onto it. As for my mother, well, it's no love lost there. I was never close to her. But what's the biggest thing is that I can't ever have anything to do with my twin sister again. I just can't. After the last 9 years, I'm sorry. That, to me, it's like, how can you? How could you? You know, you're going through this when I'm continuously telling my family the same thing continuously since 2015. And I'm still having to battle what I'm battling. It's like, you do know this has costed me everything I've worked hard for. You stand up for complete strangers, but you don't stand up for your own family. I just can't do it. So I had a lot of money. I did have a lot of money in savings, that's right. But that's come from, fixed term deposits. This has come from the fact that I was working cash in hand jobs that pretty much pay for my overhead, like rent and utilities and so forth. I didn't have a social life. I was always working. So then most of my salary, my actual salary from Star Casino, I could bank and save, but I also had an investment property as well. When I sold that in 2008, I almost owned it. So that money went to the bank as well. So all this is my own hard-earned money. It didn't come from insurance, which I've had a lot of people make up stories going, oh, we got that from insurance. Like, I've never received an insurance payout. I've received part salary payment for 10 years. But I did have to. Like, a lot of people see me now and they go, oh, you never had these issues. I'm like, what? You think I never had these issues back in 2008 or 2010 or whenever? I still suffer from damage to my left eye and chronic fatigue and chronic migraines to date. That's what I'm left with. So go back to when I first had the injuries. I suffered, but I still pushed through that. I wasn't sitting around at home going, oh, I've got injuries. No, I went back to school. I studied. I was putting myself in other areas. I was doing things. This is just a really sad time to think that I have to look at my life and go, well, I'm sorry. If you know me from my past, look, unless you're my cousin on my dad's side, where I say, meet me for a steak, where I know I like that cousin and I know I can sit with that cousin. And in the respect here between my mother's side and my dad's side is that these cousins really didn't know much about me before, say, October 2007. May have only seen each other at family reunions. So if they've made mistakes and said things that was wrong, well, I turn around and say, well, they don't really know me. So I can be a bit more forgiving there because it's like, well, they don't really know me. But if I want to go meet that cousin and say, look, meet me up for a steak because I know I can have a chat with you and it's not going to go on to anything, from what's just gone on. Well, then so be it. I can have my cousin as my best friend. But as for anyone else, I really would urge that anybody who knows me or my family from my past, whether it's my mother's side or whether it's my mother's side, basically, I wouldn't. Anyone from my high school, anyone, I would, after the last 9 years, if I'm willing to give up any connection with my twin sister, which I am, it's over. I mean this, and I mean this very sadly, but this is the only way to heal and move on from what money this has cost me, especially when I've turned to my twin sister several times in the last 9 years and she's behaved like my mother and my mother's sisters does. The only way is to say, I can't ever have anything to do with you again. I wish you well in life, and this is really sad, but, I guess we'll see each other in another life, but I won't ever have anything to do with you again. I think 9 years, I think 9 months, when you continuously asking a family to do something that you've asked them to do and they don't. I think 9 months is long enough. I think 9 years is too long. I think costing me my assets, my belongings, my savings, my credibility, I think that has gone too far. I think what I went through in America pushed it to the limit, and America pushed it too far. I regrettably say that I'm nice to everybody, whatever nationality you are, I don't care. But when it comes to immigration, I won't support it. If I knew someone and I had to vouch for them before they got deported, I'd be like, I like you as a person, but as immigration goes, I would say deport you. Sorry, I can't ever have this feeling where I support anything again after what America did to me for immigration, what it cost me. And that's where I stand. So I don't care. There's 6 months to me renewing a green card that I'm sitting back going, cost me 80,000 American, 160,000 Australian. Cost me my expensive assets, my belongings, my savings, my credibility, family photos. It cost me family photos, car. It cost me everything I care about in life for a piece of plastic to a country that accepts more to with third world illegal immigrants than it does people like myself. So I won't ever have this, oh yeah, got a green card to America. It's the worst thing I've ever done in my entire life. I regret it. The biggest regret of my entire life is the last year. We're even moving to America. And everyone else, Rainey, Francis, anyone, look, don't bother coming into my life. I'm sorry, you haven't done anything wrong. Rainey, you haven't. Well, as far as I know, you haven't. But I'm done. I don't want to see people from my past. And it's just solely based on the last 9 years. Because things shouldn't have taken 9 years. This shouldn't have happened. So as far as I'm concerned, and I'm going to stick by this because I'm stubborn, and because of the damage that was done towards me in America, the amount of money it cost me, this is not from my thought. It's nothing to do with me. I can't control these lies that have gone on that I've said are lies since 2015, and it's gone through police, immigration, medical industries and so forth. I can't do nothing about that. I've turned to organisations and said, the information you have is not true, it's incorrect, correct it, and here's the documents that's truth, that it's been notarised by a barrister that's gone through the Department of Foreign Affairs, so the documents I have is correct, but you won't change. And my family didn't help. 9 years? Look, I think that warrants never having anything to do with a family member again. Honestly. And if my mother wants to stand back and say anything at this, it's like, well, you lied about your son. We've never been close, but when you were given a chance to actually stand up and be a mother, you chose the latter. That's it. It's over. I'm done fighting. But don't ever expect me to be the person I ever was again or be nice to people. Because I won't.